Just over 2 months ago, Malaysia's cities were brimming with vehicles, people and economic activity. With the COVID-19 outbreak, it's a different story. Now, as Malaysians prepare to go back to work, how will our cities look like? How can workplaces, restaurants, shopping complexes and all the manner of businesses prepare so that their employees can leave home and return to work safely? Social purpose organisation Think City has put out some guidelines for these companies. Its MD Hamdan Abdul Majid explains why it is so important to ensure a safe working environment.
The Malaysian community and the frontline workers have made a huge sacrifice over the past 6 weeks, and it is important that we work as a society to improve the public health outcome and not squander the dividends that we have gained. It cannot be up to the government alone. Both the private and public sector should prepare their premises to reduce the risk. The wider public also needs to do their part. If we fail, we may have to go into another period of extended lockdown and the economy will suffer again.
So what are some of the measures companies can roll out? Well, there is plenty to emulate from the essential services providers that have been operating throughout the MCO. For instance, screening every person who enters the premises and logging details such as their contact information and their date and time of entry and exit, as well as any recent travel and exposure to COVID-19 positive patients. Placing sanitizing hand drop dispensers in visible places and common areas. Placing visual markers and posters to remind building occupants on physical distancing practices and parameters. Cleaning and disinfecting surfaces including doorknobs and lift buttons regularly. Advising employees to wear a face covering if they're within 1 meter distance of anyone else. And preparing an isolation room in case someone becomes ill with suspected COVID-19 during working hours. But these measures aren't enough. Think City says building managers or human resource departments should prepare a response plan that can be put into action immediately should an employee or visitor develop symptoms. They must ensure each employee is informed and has a copy of the plan, and any cases of COVID-19 should be communicated to keep the office informed and calm. Meanwhile, all staff should be encouraged to download and register the MySejahtera and MyTrace app to facilitate contact tracing. Employers might also want to consider obtaining travel declarations from employees on their travel history. In addition to a response plan, Think City says businesses should also have a contingency plan in case they need to limit or reduce their working capacity for several months post-MCO. This means considering rotating staff schedules and identifying the essential employees who need to be physically present. They should also identify vulnerable staff based on medical records and allow them to work remotely or prepare a separate workspace for them. Of course, it's not all up to the private sector.
At the same time, there also needs to be a response plan for each state that allows the economy to restart. These plans need to take full account of supply chain issues, the availability of childcare, and also consideration of transport needs of workers. It should be staged so that the most critical parts open first. Those businesses and workers who can still operate remotely should do so and to do so for an extended period where possible, and then shift to lower capacities progressively. The response plan has to find ways to activate local economies, local markets, and get the larger multinational corporations operational again. Data collection also needs to be ramped up, and government needs to have adaptive policies to respond to new circumstances as they arise.
As Health DG Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah keeps reminding Malaysians, the onus is on everyone to adopt protective measures. If all parties do not embrace these new practices, then this MCO and all the efforts of Malaysia's frontliners will have been for naught.